All right, let's get you set up on Python. This video is intended for first-time users who are just getting into it. So the first thing we'll want to do is we'll want to download the Python interpreter. So your computer can know what the Python code you're writing actually means and be able to run it. So you're going to want to go to this website. All the websites I use in this video will be in the description. And you're just going to want to download the latest version of Python. I'm running Windows on my computer, so it'll say Windows. If you're on a Mac or if you're on Linux, it will be able to sense that, or you can click on these links down here. But let's just download Python 3.12.1. We'll put that in our downloads, and then we'll start running that. And that could take a little bit to download. We'll see how long it takes, but we'll install it. And I'll wait for that to load. While we're waiting, we need some kind of program to be able to actually run Python in and to write our Python. And so one that is very popular, and not just for Python, but for many programming languages, is VS Code. And actually, I'll just type in the whole URL here to go get it. So it's code.visualstudio.com. And that should take us to the website. And here you go. We can download it here. So we'll want to download the latest stable build. And that should take a second. There we go. Put that in our downloads again. And that should start going. We'll see how this Python's going. Looks like we're almost done. And one other tool, if you don't want to go through all of this hassle, it depends on what kind of Python code you're trying to write. If it's mostly for data wrangling or exploring data, there's a great website, actually a service hosted by Google, called Google Colab. And I guess it's actually just colab.google, not even .com. That's great. So this is definitely something that is worth checking out. It uses these things called a Jupyter Notebook, these types of file called Jupyter Notebooks that allow you to just run code in these little blocks. I need to sign in to be able to get this to work, but I would recommend checking this out. This way you don't have to install anything on your computer. But let's keep going. Setup was successful, so we can close that. And now let's run the download for VS Code. VS Code is what we call an IDE, an integrated development environment. And so you can use a lot of different programming languages with VS Code. It's one of the easier ones to read and install, or to use to install and all of that. Pretty simple, and it's free, which is really nice. Runs on Macs and Windows, although the support for Macs might be going soon. But we'll download this real quick. Perfect. And yeah, just going through all the default settings should be fine for this. And we'll get this up and running. Looks like my computer's a little slow today. Anytime now. All right, here we go. We have our VS Code up and running. So from here, you can go to your files. Looks like, there we go. So let's do a new file. And look, it already has Jupyter Notebook loaded in here. If it didn't, that's fine. You can just create your own file and add that .ipynb file extension at the end. But let's just click on that, see where that takes us. Hopefully that shows the same for you. Do you want to install the recommended Python extension from Microsoft for Python language? Yeah, let's install it. So all that is this right here, and it's Python language support, and it's just going to be how your Python displays in your code. And it makes it a little easier to read, a little easier to write it, just because of how it formats it and how it shows on your computer. So while that's installing, let's go back over to here. And there we go. So we have our Python now, and we can start writing some basic things. We can do x equals 3, y equals 5. Apologies, it looks like my computer's a little slow, but then we'll print x plus y, and you can kind of get a feel for how that shows. And we'll run this block, and you'll see we need to find our kernel. So let's see what we can find. Now we should already have our Python downloaded. Okay, so as we clicked on the selecting kernel and going to the marketplace, we're not really seeing what we want. This is all just different things. It's not what we want. It's not showing the Python file, that compiler that we just downloaded, that interpreter, sorry. And so what we want to do is we want to go up to the search bar, and to do commands in here, you can type this side arrow, or you can click here. And if we just type in Python interpreter, and we can see this, select interpreter, and you can see, oh, there we go. That is what we just downloaded, our Python 3.12.2 for 64-bit. So we'll click on that, and we selected our interpreter, and let's see if this works now. No, it still wants us to browse the market for kernel extensions. So let's see, how do we do this? Well, we have our Jupyter notebook, which is what we're trying to run here. So let's install this. This is the support for the Jupyter notebooks, which is the IPYNB files. All right, perfect. So now we have that. We can select a Jupyter kernel, Python select interpreter, and we can go back to this Python 3.12. And that should be everything we need. So if we go back here and we run this, we'll click allow. And now it wants to install this IPyKernel package. So you can see there's quite a bit to getting this set up for the first time. So let's install this. And I didn't do much prep before this video because I didn't want to install anything on the computer that would change this process the next time I went through. So you're going through this with me. But let's wait as it installs our IPyKernel here. Okay, so that just took a second to download, but now that it did, right as it was done, it ran our code. So you can see it's running that just fine. If we go up here, clear our outputs, execute the cell again, there we go. Seems to be working just great. And if we wanted to, we can exit out of that IPy notebook and just create a regular .py file. Let's just create it from here. So new file, Python file, and we could start coding in here if we wanted to, and it should just work the same now that we have our Python notebook up, or our Python interpreter running. Now, if you don't know where to start, we'll get to that in a second. I also wanted to just show quickly, while I was waiting for it to go, I logged into our collaboratory here, and so our Google Colab, and we can just try and run some of this stuff and see how that works in Colab. And you can see the setup's a lot easier. It's already running it. If we go here, let's hide all the output. Let's see. Yeah, we can just hide the output, and then if we run it, it'll go there again. It's already showing the result, but that's just fine. Okay, now if you're not sure where to start off, I've created this this that should be helpful to get you started. So if you go to GitHub, which is where people put a lot of their code for other people to use and other people to see, I have created this this little bit of code to get people started in data wrangling. And so here we have it right here. Just enter this, and I'll have everything in the description again. But if you go to this code block, download the zip file. We'll put it in downloads, and that will download all the files here. This is basically a very simple problem. It'll walk you through it, of this made-up airlines company called Starlift, and they are tracking their flights, and they want to figure out the best network to be able to do that. through with the airports that they already have. Should they keep them? Should they get rid of them? And they use data and network simulations, I guess, to figure that out. But let's go here. Let's try and open this folder that we have. So let's just open it here, and then we'll try and double click this, see where this starts us. Okay, perfect. Now I'm not sure why the folder is not showing up here. Maybe if we search it, intro to data wrangling, this PC. All right, figured it out. It's just because it was still in the zip file in our downloads. So VS Code was not recognizing the zip folder, so I just moved the folder from the zip folder into our downloads. So if we click this, select the folder. Yes, I trust the author. The author is me. And it shows us a welcome screen, but on the side here you can see everything that's in our folder here. And so we can go to this and we can start running. And this was built to be able to help people learn the very basics of Python and then learn some things about data wrangling in the process and be able to go through those steps. And if you wanted to do this in Google Colab, if you scroll down here in the README, you can click on here and it takes you right to the Google Colab version of this. And yeah, I would just start going through, and it doesn't have to be something like this. Well, it doesn't have to be this. It should be something similar to this to help you get started and to learn some of these programming concepts. And as you go along, you can run some of these code blocks. And yeah, I hope that's helpful.